Hey, what's up? It's Sideshow again, and I'm going to be breaking down how TenZ used Jett on Ascent to make this match much closer than it should have been. This is the PAX Invitational Finals between Cloud9 and Sentinels. I thought the Sentinels were going to be heavily favored in this match, and they made me nearly shit myself on many occasions because this match, oh boy, it got close. Partly because they had to wrap it up, they had to win basically on bind, Ascent, and split, because otherwise Cloud9 were going to win both of the Haven games anyway. So, alright, that in itself was a bit of squeaky bum time, but on Ascent, just to start out with, this map already was closer than it should have been, because as you can see, the Sentinels get out to a 7-3 start, and then they start to take their foot off the gas a little bit. And I want to show how the Jett pick from TenZ was a major component of why the squad of Cloud9 was able to get back into this map. So we're going to start out by taking a look at the minimap here, because what I'm going to show you is a pretty normal play that a lot of teams run, but it works really well with the Jett. So this is going to be your classic putting pressure on A main coming out on Ascent. And what you're going to do is, Relics is going to blind down A main. This is really simple. The blind catches so many players. Shenobi is also going to send a recon dart towards the back of A main to be able to catch anybody that hides behind the boxes here and here. And you're going to have one or sometimes two players push down A main, and you're going to peek. The problem is usually that whoever pushes down here, if you just walk, you don't get there quickly enough. By the time you get there, people have hidden, they can actually run all the way back. It normally sucks. But if you're running Jett or if you're running Raze, you can disrupt this timing, and that is exactly what TenZ does. Because if you see, the blind comes out, TenZ dashes, then he updrafts, and he's here while everyone is blinded. Everyone, that is, apart from Shazam. But Shazam's pulling out an ability of his own, so he doesn't have his gun available. So immediate kill onto Shazam. Spray control is fantastic from TenZ here to be able to pick up Sinatra and Sick, but it's all that set play. And the Sentinels were getting cocky at this point. They should not have been that close to A main. They knew that TenZ had rifles. They know this is a play that is possible because the Sentinels themselves run it. Even though they don't have a Jett, they run like a shittier version of it. And TenZ immediately gets 3 kills. Now, this round actually does end up being... This round ends up being a 1v1 at the end of it, because they are just insisting on facing Dapper, and they just feed their brains out towards the end of that from Cloud9. But TenZ basically wrapped that round up, or should have wrapped that round up right at the beginning with that first play. So here we're looking at round 15, and this is going to be an A push. This is when Cloud9 are on the other side. So it ended, I think it was 7-5 in favor of the Sentinels, the attacking half for Sentinels. They get the pistol round and the follow-up round as well, so it's 9-5. So clearly there's still a lot of work here for Cloud9 to be able to get back into this game. They need to have a really good attacking half on Ascent. And they start out here. This is the third round. This is the first rifle round, and they're going to go for an aggressive A push. And if you know me, you know that I love these burst pushes onto A, but TenZ does something very different to most other teams. He will hide in his smokes, and it's really weird, but I'm going to explain why it works so well here. So you can see, if we take a look at the minimap, that the entirety of Cloud9 is set up to try and push in, and they're going to try and burst out of A. Now, the normal burst plan out of A is that you have your Omen blind generator, you have a recon dart towards the back of site, maybe you put a smoke in here so that you can enter more easily, and you'll try and smoke or close the door really quickly too. And you're aiming just to kind of burst in onto the site, grab the kill of whoever's playing there. Sometimes there's 2 people playing there, and Oodalali, Bob's your uncle, you've got control of the site, and you're playing the retake, and this point's pretty difficult to retake. So the bursts are normally pretty good. But let's take a look at how instead TenZ decides to play it, because he puts extra pressure on this player that is anchoring the site, because often the ciphers can still get a lot of value, and especially if there's 2 people playing, you know, like one at generator and one behind these boxes, it can be pretty difficult. So here's what TenZ does. He's going to dash in, which breaks any tripwires that would be at the front here anyway. Not that anyone really does that. At this kind of high level, people expect it, so they have counter-strats for it. Normally, the tripwires are like these weird little ones that are on the ground somewhere that people are going to run into and try and give a free kill to whoever's anchoring the site, either here or at the back of electric generator. But what TenZ does is he dashes inside his smoke. And if you think about where he is on the minimap right now, there's a box right in front of him. So if you're the guy here, Dapper, that is playing back of sight, and you're playing with these boxes, the pink line here indicating the boxes that he would be playing behind, normally you would like to peek out from either this side, or you'd want to peek out from this side and try and catch the players as they're coming in. But you can't really do that when TenZ is smoked up here, because he's using his smokes to get a very close angle. Look, he's jiggling just in case someone tries to spam the smoke. Nobody spams the smoke, so he puts down another one. He finds a tripwire, which is specifically placed to stop this exact strat. This is Dapper being really clever because he knows that TenZ likes to do this. He knows that TenZ is pushing the back of sight, and you can see here from the angle that TenZ gets, TenZ does not show himself until he is already in back of sight. So if someone was playing here at the back of electric, or if they're playing here trying to jiggle peek the boxes, they have to be worried that someone is going to sneak right up next to them through smokes. And what is the counterplay to this? If you are Dapper and you're trying to anchor the site, if you just try and spam the smoke, TenZ is going to be hiding behind the box, or he might be at the edge of his smoke. You're just going to waste your time. The smoke also blocks other people as they're entering. So it becomes really difficult for him, even though he has his own cyber cage to be able to hide behind, so he could be anywhere along this kind of area. Dapper could be in any of these spots. It doesn't really help him because he is just slowly getting flanked by this creepy little Jett who's going to break tripwires and get in and make space for the rest of the team. Now let's also... Sorry. I was illustrating on the map here that even if Dapper holds here or he holds here, it's not really going to help. And if he can occupy this space all in the back of here, but it doesn't really matter because you have a creepy little Sage who's going to be pushing up through the smokes there towards the back. Sorry, I keep forgetting to take the minimap off after I deploy it. Let's look at what the rest of the team are doing in the meantime, though, because while the Jett has pushed in and is now creeping up on any anchor that wants to stand their ground, the rest of the team is going to place a smoke at the top of balcony, which you can see here nicely blocks off anyone who wants to play that balcony position, especially if they're AWPing. You've immediately got the Cypher player, whose name I have totally forgotten right now, Vice, is going to run towards the door, and he's going to close the door. And then you've got the main caller, Shenobi, who is going to run into electric and get the plant off. This is the point of the play, is to run in really quickly. They've cleared out this kind of door area. They know that nobody is holding tree. They'd be able to face it with rifles as they cross. And also, interestingly, Mitch, who you can just see at the back here, has actually walled himself up. He's got a wall here, and this allows him to look over the top of the Omen smoke that has been laid down by the Sentinels. God, all of these player names are just flying out of my head. By Zombs. Zombs has laid down this smoke at Archway, and Mitch is looking over the top of it to see if he can get an angle into the side, because he doesn't want to push. He eventually, in the post plant, wants to be playing 8 main. So, all right, this is a really cool little strat. But TenZ takes it one step further. He doesn't check under hell. Instead, he pushes up knowing that no one will really expect him to be this deep on the site. Even if you know that TenZ likes to push back of site, you don't expect him to silently creep up to the entirety of Catwalk. Clears out this right side area and just gets an immediate pick onto Shazam. Shazam, in theory, should have known that this was a possibility, but you just don't expect a player to be this damn aggressive all the way up to the balcony, especially when Dapper's already in hell. Now, Shenobi clears out Dapper in hell with a shock dart, which is much better than Shenobi trying to take the aim duel, because Lord knows he'll lose a couple of those. So I do like that usage from Shenobi. And now you've cleared out the 2 players that would have been anchoring or rotating onto the sites early on, and you've got a 4v3 scenario where you can pretty nicely try and play this. The door's already been broken, and so it's necessary that they push in this aggressively. And with Mitch on top of the... Shenobi manages to kill Sick, who pushes the balcony. They get blinded. But between this crossfire, Zoms can't really get in very well. You know, he can take down Shenobi, but then TenZ is going to peek him. Anybody who comes in from balcony is going to get shot by these players behind electric, and also Mitch, who's boosted above this smoke, so the smoke doesn't do anything on A main. You're not going to be looking or having your crosshair on A main if you're a player pushing from balcony, because you assume it's smoked off anyway. So just generally a really solid, well thought out execute from Cloud9, which is different to a lot of other burst pushes on Ascent. So round 17 here, and I'm just going to play this out. I don't really have much to comment on it in terms of what TenZ does, but you can see here that Cloud9, they're actually on an eco buy. It's like a half buy situation, and TenZ has popped his ultimate. And I just want to add this in just to show that TenZ on Jett has so much damn clutch potential. It's actually absurd. He kind of goes through mid at the moment. They're trying to push their people with rifles into position. A drone clears B main a little bit as Sinatra goes to try and wallbang some players. He's going to be able to wallbang Mitch with his Odin. And now they're in a scenario where they are 3v5. Not looking good. Not many guns either out here for Cloud9 when they're attacking. And this would be a terrible round to lose, you know. 11-6, that's looking difficult. It's very hard to get yourself back in the match here. So they go for a B split with their 3 players left remaining. They figure, hey, we'll push the Odin. Why not? It should be better in terms of being able to take a duel with it, I guess. But TenZ is just a monster. He just comes in, gets the kill. Obviously, Sick thinks he's going to push around the front of the boathouse, but he comes around and he's just so fast to get in behind Sick. Then Shazam takes a duel with him, knocks him down to 3 HP, but TenZ still gets the win. And he's just clutched this, just wide open. It's absolutely bonkers. Takes his position in B main, gets another kill, and even though he dies eventually, he's found 4 kills in a half buy round, and he just sets up Shenobi for the easiest I guess, clutch possible, because they have no idea where Shenobi is. And, you know, Zoms, he tries to use his ult to gather some intel, doesn't really gather anything, thinks he has to come out of it in order to get the pick. He's eventually going to get the kill on TenZ here, who's 3 HP, but Zoms is on 50 HP. He has no idea where Shenobi is at all. He's in a 1v1 with the bomb planted. The blind doesn't even find Shenobi. He assumes that Shenobi's wrapped around the boathouse to try and find him. Just gets shot in the back of the head. So that's just a round that is completely won on eco for TenZ. Absurd. So let's take a look at this round 18 as well. The first thing I want to point out is that Sentinels are actually going for their own version of the A aggression play. This is what I was talking about before. This is how I opened up the entire video. We were discussing this A aggressive play, and they're going to do the exact same thing. The blind is going to come down here, but this time from Zoms. An arrow is going to come out from Sinatra. Recon arrow is going to land about here. But this time they have the Cypher pushing it, and the Cypher, even if they were all around A main, even if this had been perfectly timed with some A main push coming out from Cloud9, the Cypher's just too slow, man. It's not going to work. It's kind of pointless to go for this kind of play, because all it does is stack 4 people towards the A side. It's not worthwhile whatsoever. On the other side of the map, though, the area in which we're going to focus, we have the Sentinels setting up for a fast B push. And I want to showcase what TenZ does here, because, all right, Sick is holding this with a stinger. He's not in the greatest position. He just wants to try and play, maybe find 1 pick, at maximum 2. He's playing with a stinger, though. I mean, what the hell is he supposed to do? He's not going to face these guys and try and take the rifles. Even if he uses a utility, he's probably screwed. But take a look at what TenZ does here. He dashes in. My God, I always forget to take the minimap off. For fuck's sake. Okay, anyway, we've only just got to the important part anyway. Because TenZ has dashed in. I'm going to take this back from here, though. What have I done? Okay, this is the previous round. All right, here's the round that I'm talking about. Sick has realized that they're already pushing. The A aggression has come in. There's only Sick on this side of the map. Smoke comes out, but they push through the smokes. And what you see there is TenZ dashes down and then updrafts, and he goes over the top. You see it from his point of view just now, as he's in the air floating behind Sick, and he's raining down shots into his head. But look at the health. It's actually, before he's even landed, before he's even touched the ground, TenZ has taken Sick down to like 1 HP just with body shots. It's mental. Like, he's just spraying into him because he figures, hey, it's close range. Like, the Phantom's, yeah, it's mega inaccurate in the air, but it's still accurate enough to be able to hit a couple of shots, and then by the time I land, I'll be able to fix my spray control to kill them anyway. So he just gets this kill immediately. There's nothing that Sick can do. His crosshairs just flying all over the place, trying to track this fucking Jett that's just landing on his head. And the rest of this round should, in theory, because it's a bit of a shitty situation for Cloud9. I mean, Sentinels have the breach ult to be able to retake this, and so it's difficult, but it's very doable. They come in, they get the Cypher ult out, and they actually know where everybody is positioned. They know that there's 3 players on B site and Relics, and they can check Relics, and they know that he's out. Zombs actually gets the kill on him while he's teleporting. So they know that there's these 3 players. The reason why they can't just immediately go for this breach ult and just kill everyone inside B, because that ult just decimates if you're on a B retake. This ult is God's gift. But the reason that they can't really do that is because they've seen Mitch up on top of this Sage boost. And Mitch has put a wall down like this that blocks off your avenue if you're going to push from this side. So not only does that funnel everybody through the close entrance towards the B site, which honestly you're still not that worried about if you have a breach ult. But what you are worried about is that Mitch will drop this side of his wall instead of falling back to the point and get a backstab on you. You know, you're worried that he's going to avoid the breach ult entirely. So if you look at the minimap here, you can see them just pissing around for ages. They spend way too long just clearing out this area. They put up a camera to try and check to make sure that Mitch hasn't dropped onto that side of the wall. And in the meantime, the spike is just ticking. It's tick, 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 tick. By the time Shazam eventually commits his ultimate here and stuns up all 3 of the players, they get the kills immediately. Shenobi and Vice fall. Mitch left in a 1v2, but Dapper is super weak. Shazam has got to stick it. He's got to just stick it. But when Dapper dies, I timed this out, and there's 1.5 seconds left on the defuse. Shazam has to stick it, but he figures if he can get the trade kill immediately, he might still have a chance of winning the round. And if he just sticks it, he's thinking that Mitch is going to kill him. It's a horrible situation for Shazam to be in. With the benefit of hindsight, we know that he should have just stuck it because his time doesn't work out when he tries to go for the kill here. But it's a tough situation, tough decision to make. And so Cloud9 win another round off the back of TenZ just opening things up with his Jett utility. Now there's another eco round after this where Cloud9 win. And then there's another round after that where Sinatra is able to hold off a B push with his Odin. And so it gets us to here, round 21. And this is where they can start to really equalize things. They can knock Sentinels back onto a bit of a broken bye if they win this round. But they're on an eco themselves. The thing is, TenZ has his ult again. And whenever TenZ has his ult, it's winnable. So they're going to go for the same kind of A push where he's going to leap into his smokes. And he just dominates here again. It's absurd what he's able to do with this ultimate. His fluid movement around the map is just so good. It's like... I mean, it's similar to watching Mixwell over in EU, but I think TenZ honestly does it better. Like, as much as Mixwell is fantastic, I think TenZ does it better. It's crazy. Okay, so a smoke again goes in. Same kind of idea here. They blind towards the generator and towards the... Actually, it's more towards the main box's position. TenZ is in. He's immediately going to jump up as soon as the recon dart hits. You can see that just above my big bald head. That clears out back of sight, so he knows that there's nobody there. He checks down towards generator. He knows now that there's nobody in. And he knows... Like in the previous A push, nobody will expect him going batshit insane aggressive over on balcony. So he goes in, he pushes his own smoke. Remember, this is Relic smoke that he's pushing here. Gets the kill onto Dapper. Sick shouldn't have pushed this, in my opinion, because he needs to respect TenZ more than this. He uses another updraft to be able to peek over the top. Once he hears the wall coming out, he knows that Sick is going to be wall boosting, and so he pushes and uses another updraft, finds Sick, hits the head with another right click, and you've already found 2 amazing picks. But at this point, the round is still winnable here for Sentinels. It's 3v4, sure, but if you kill TenZ, everybody else just has pistols, and so this would still be a pretty winnable round for the Sentinels. Especially because they can pressure towards door and try and make a flank happen from that kind of angle as well. But they want to make sure that they kill TenZ, so they want to put some focus towards TenZ at the beginning. So another smoke towards A main. And they're going to put 2 people on the balcony. It's going to be Sinatra and Zoms spamming this wall. The wall gets broken, and TenZ knows that these guys are going to be reloading because it takes a lot of ammo to break the wall. Immediately kills Zoms. And at this point, it's busted. You can't push this 2v4. You need to save your weapons. It's at such a crucial stage of the economy. The Sentinels have got to save. But you can see with how the rest of this round ends up playing out that if they had actually killed TenZ, the rest of the kills I think would have flooded in. And so it's just TenZ that saves this entire situation. Because as soon as TenZ dies, immediate follow-up kill onto Vice, who can't really do that much. Shazam is here. Obviously, it would have been more difficult to push into the site rather than just get the exit frags, but all of these players, they drop pretty easily, and the end of the round sees everybody dead for Cloud9, and yet they've won it anyway. In the end, Sentinels are able to squeak this map together, but it was way closer than it should have been, and TenZ's Jett was the main reason why it was such a close map to begin with. There is so much clutch potential on this hero in terms of what you can do when you're open, what you can do in eco rounds, how you can break open situations in terms of being able to dash through and updraft over people's heads. It's so clutch, and it fits. Jett just fits TenZ perfectly.